I know right now we have Burt Gummer. He's campaigning to be president.
Can you think of a better choice?
Well, what I want to know, does that mean, and I hope this is the truth, that the end of Tremors 7 is fake news?
Well, let's just put it this way. Tremors, Universal came to me just about the time we were going to shoot this and said, what if Burt didn't survive? And I was shocked. I was shocked because I always saw Burt always survives. So I said, the final decision we made was to shoot this 2 ways. So when we were in Thailand shooting this, we shot it with Burt surviving and Burt not surviving. We shot it both ways. And the final decision to end Burt's career was made in the editing room. So in the editing process, I got another call from Universal saying, it's just so powerful if he doesn't make it. So emotionally, it's a gut punch. We think it's so powerful. Are you okay if he doesn't come back? And I said, hell, I thought we were finished with Tremors 4. So the fact that we've made 7 is icing on the cake. So I said, it would not be my preference, but I could live with it. That having been said, the door is still open because we never see a corpse. We never see Burt's remains. We see everybody mourning. Is he under a pile of rocks in a coma? Is he unconscious somewhere? Could they simply not find him? Did he wander off somewhere in a daze? So the door is open for, let's say, another Tremors film. Should Universal and audiences require it? And of course, Burt running for president was something that we had decided to do back in December when we were doing this. They were thinking about extras, and we said, wait a minute. For years, fans have been saying, man, Burt, I would vote for you as president. So we said, let's just have some fun. Let's just do this goofy thing. So we made eight episodes of it, and 3 of which have played already. And it was just our idea, my homage to Pat Paulson, comedian Pat Paulson, doing this on the Smothers Brothers show decades ago, this comedian running for president in the United States. And he actually got something like 20,000 write-in votes, apparently.
Well, I wanted to know is, for you, Michael Gross, you go to Burt Gummer's wake and you have to give a eulogy. What do you say?
Oh, brother. Well, first of all, I don't know why I'd be invited, because I wouldn't be friends with this man. Number one, right? I would point up all the good things, the preparedness, the fact that he was so often right. Living with somebody, staying in close contact with somebody like this, I think would have driven me crazy. So it was probably one of those things where I'd have to confess during the middle of the wake, well, I haven't actually talked to Burt in 30 years, but what I remember back in our college days was this and that and such. I hate to see him go, frankly, because he's such a unique individual. I've never actually thought about, wow, the enormity of his passing. And I haven't, this may surprise you to know I haven't seen it yet, which is part of the reason, I haven't seen the film. They sent me a complex link with umpteen million passwords of how to get through there. And I went, oh, this is ridiculous. Just send me a DVD, and I still haven't gotten the DVD. So I have not seen it, which is a blessing because I hate watching myself perform anyway.
Well, you bring up an interesting subject with that notion, is that when Tremors 2 came out, direct-to-video movies were kind of not shunned, but they were a little bit looked at as not a real movie.
Absolutely.
But now 7 movies later, here in 2020, Tremors 7 is the biggest monster movie, one of the only movies coming out. And I've got to say, there's been quite a change between Tremors 2 and Tremors 7, just in terms of how you guys get these movies to people.
Yeah, on demand was not available. It was, and you remember the the big discs too. They came out on the big discs. Yeah, it's amazing. And this will now be on Netflix of all things. So, that people can get this in any number of formats. And that's one of the biggest changes in the industry. You'll forget when I first went on television in Family Ties, there were 3 networks. Cable television as we know it now didn't exist. Hundreds of channels.
Well, now you brought up Family Ties. Right. Please, this is 2020. We lost Burt Gummer. Please tell me you're not also planning on killing off Stephen Keaton. No. I doubt, however, you're going to see a Family Ties reunion. Most of all because our dear and glorious sage, Gary David Goldberg, our executive producer, passed away himself a few years ago. And I don't know that Michael Fox's health he's doing as best as he can with what he's got. And I've seen Michael from time to time, and Michael says, I'm doing pretty well. But I don't think from the original writers, there is the impulse to do it again. The feeling from the very beginning when we finished is, we're not going to revisit this. We can't revisit the 80s. It was a high note. We ended on a high note, and we feel it's a good place to end. And going back would just make us all sad because it would never be quite the same. Is that you dinging that bell?
That's my mail dinging that bell. So let me get rid of it. I apologize.
The first time it went off perfectly, where I was like, "Oh no, that I said something wrong, or we did something wrong," and then that I was like,
to be honest with you, you've said quite a few things wrong, but
I know. I thought maybe I was winning prizes for asking all the questions.
Nobody's holding it against you. Okay, we got rid of the dings. I apologize for that.
Well, it was just like the second time it went off, I was like, "What? What is that?" Now, I had an idea. Where's Scott Valentine? You never hear about him. Why doesn't he show up in one of these Tremor movies?
Well, because that's a whole different world. I think people would have a problem with that. I talked about bringing Meredith Baxter into one of these movies.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
No, that's just not going to happen. Come on. We can't mix those genres. So Scott Valentine, by the way, is quite well. I had a chat with him a couple of days ago online, and he's quite well, and he looks lovely, and he has a very happy life. I'm not sure what he's doing. We didn't discuss that. Yeah. We were just,
Well, for me, if you take the movies that Family Time members were in, right. I know, of course, everybody loves Back to the Future, but
oh yeah,
I think My Demon Lover is almost at the top, but not enough people have seen it to edge out Tremors. So you're still in the top spot, I think. And lately, I've seen Tremors kind of come up over Back to the Future, and maybe it's because people haven't seen it enough times.
Well, believe it or not, and this is a strange world. People's memories are so short, and that's probably one of the problems with America in general. We forget the mistakes we made in the past, and so repeat them now. I've run into people who don't know who Michael J. Fox is. Well, I'm not surprised when they don't know who I am, but when they don't know who Michael J. Fox is, like, excuse me, have you seen Back to the Future? Oh yeah, I've heard of it. And these, the Generation Xers or whatever, I don't know. I don't get it. But of course, nobody knows. I tell a joke about Fred Astaire, and these people don't know who I'm talking about, so forget about it.
Well, I want to, talking about killing off characters, with Stephen Keaton and Burt Gummer, I've been with this series, and I've watched all of these movies since the beginning, and I did get teary-eyed at the end, because I didn't believe it at first, and then the credits come up, and I'm like, what? No way. And people really are invested in these characters, and I gotta say, it's kind of hard to see somebody like Burt Gummer and think that he's not going to come back.
I know. Again, I haven't seen it yet, and I may shed a tear myself, going, "Oh my God, is it really over?" It may not be over. We've sort of left the door open. As I say, it's possible. I mean, I envision a Tremors 8, if there is ever a Tremors 8, and I'm not sure Universal is even interested enough to do this. Beginning with Burt in a full body cast in a hospital bed, having just awakened from a 3-year coma, and somebody's shaking him awake, going, Burt, there are graboids out there. We need you. It's like, this is the first shit I hear out of a coma, so who knows?
Well, in the movie, since you haven't seen it, maybe you don't know if this stayed in or got cut out, but there's kind of a very important scene where Earl and Val do get brought up, and it makes me think if you come back, you got to bring the entire, I mean, make like an Avengers Tremors where Val, Earl, all the other guys that are still around from the first movie, the second movie. I don't know about Jamie Kennedy. I don't even want to ask about that, where he is in this movie. So I don't know if he'll come back. But everybody else, I think that would be amazing.
My only comment on Jamie, since you brought him up, is that my understanding was, and again, I wasn't there, I was not in the room, is an offer was made and he refused it. That's all I know. I don't know what the offer was or what the negotiations were. I'm just told this by producers after the fact. And I was like, wow, okay. So, and having said that, John Heder is marvelous. I loved him.
Right.
I had a great time with him.
The whole cast is great.
And every time I do this, I make new friends and make associations, and I want them back. And I keep being the center of attention because everybody else drops away.
Yeah.
There's nothing I would. Didn't you ever want to work with Kevin or Fred or Reba? And I was like, yes. They obviously don't want to work with me. I said, I'm always in it, and they don't come back. And it's how I sort of floated to the top, if you will, because the others kept leaving. So I guess you could call Michael Gross a survivalist as well as Burt Gummer.
Well, I want to know, having been with the series for so long, and I genuinely enjoy every installment of this. And this new one, you haven't seen it. It's pretty good. I'm just like sitting there watching it on the big screen in the back room, just going, yes, come on. I like the girl from Orange is the New Black. Forgive me, I forgot what her name is.
She's yes. Oh, good. Jackie Cruz.
Jackie Cruz, yes. I loved her on Orange is the New Black, and then to see her come in here and kind of kick some butt, it was awesome. Now, I want to know, do you guys have a name for Tremors fans? Because all these fan groups have some kind of name, and I've never heard one for Tremors.
I don't know that. I mean, running for president right now, I like to think of them as Gummertarians.
Okay.
But you know, the fact that Burt is running for president, I think of them all as Gummertarians, but no, we don't have a name. We don't have a name.
Man, well, Gummertarians works, I think.
Or graboidtarians. I don't know.
Something along those lines.
Something along those lines.
When I see the end of Tremors 7, and we've kind of put it out there now, what happens, the fans won't know. I'll put a big spoiler in this before we show it. But it made me think, you already did the Old West. But we've never seen Burt Gummer in the 60s or 70s, which could happen with flashbacks like they were going to do the Die Hard movie. And I want to know, is there a possibility, just even if it's an unnamed cameo, that he could cross paths with Stephen Keaton, who's a pacifist? And who would you like to see play young Burt Gummer?
Oh, man. I don't know. You've thrown a lot at me here. First of all, I'm not even sure, since Universal is the ones that came to me with the idea of killing off Burt, whether they're interested in doing any more of these. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's, who knows? 7 might be the perfect place to end. I'm not familiar enough with a lot of younger actors to suggest a name. I know there's some very talented young people out there, and I just like to see, I like to see young, transformative actors out there who are not afraid of letting it all hang out, you know, who are fearless. And so I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. You know, we've talked about, would somebody take over later in the, you know, one of his acolytes? And that's beyond me. If I'm not a part of it, you know, it almost doesn't exist for me. So I haven't thought about that possibility.
But you did play a different character in part
4.
So
right.
That was fun. You could be Burt Gummer's father. Just get a wig.
No, absolutely. That would be a great deal of fun. No, absolutely. I could see that sort of thing happening because Hiram Gummer, up until that time in Tremors 4, was probably my favorite of the 4, only because he was so different. Burt was Burt, and it was a great over the top, marvelously comically exaggerated character, and I loved him, but he was who he was. What I loved about Tremors 4 and why they wrote that is that he was a man who began in one place and went to a very different place as time went on. He had a disdain, a positive dislike for any of those people in that little town of rejection, and came to love them and came to realize their common humanity and wanted to become a part of it. So I loved the arc of that character, starting in one place as this rather snobbish East Coast man and turning into a prelude of the Burt we know now, casting his lot with the great American West and with guns. That I didn't expect I'd get to actually drive, fire a Gatling gun at the end of that film.
That movie is so fun. All of these are so good. And this is my prediction. I've got to wrap it up here, but I have a feeling, because this is one of the only Halloween movies coming out, Universal is going to see some big numbers on this in the streaming revenue. And I'm pretty sure they're going to not discontinue Tremors anytime.
Well, Burt is revivable. That we know. So it could happen. And
in my heart, he lived.
Thank you.
Even if I don't see part 8.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you very, very much. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And I love the art on the walls behind you.
Oh,
so
thank you.
that's fun. That's fun. It's like great comic book action art. And I love graphics, so that's very cool. And thank you very much. And for your patience in waiting.
No problem. I had a hard time doing this, like from the get-go.
Oh, man.
Figuring out Zoom. It's just like, so anyway.
Well, many blessings, and thanks for being such a fan. I appreciate it.
Burt's got my vote in this election.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Good day to you.
Thanks, Paul.